Right, here we go then. Red lights on, the final sprint race of the weekend about to get underway, and the lights go out now. Off we go then for the Fiesta ST240s, and Gary Miller's had a good start from the inside of row number 2. Tried to find a gap in the middle of the front row starters, but couldn't get through. And sideways moment, Brady Pollock, a huge save, and that will stack the field together. Simon Horriman tapped into a spin. Off goes, I think, Sean Reynolds, and Horriman back into the track. Thank goodness is avoided by everybody else. That could have been huge, and that was a fairly chaotic run through the first quarter, all triggered by that huge slide for Brady Pollock, which he saved, but it caused calamity behind him. There's more cars on the grass. John Cooper bouncing down the grass out of the right-hander at Church. You can tell it's a reverse grid race, can't you?
Gary Miller coming through and vying for the lead here. Is he going to be able to get it and get the better of James Pope? He does.
No.
But he's going to run very, very wide. Track limits.
I think that's the last thing on the driver's mind right now. More of them off the track than on the track, I think, that time through Rocket Corner. They're all still going, Richard. I'm not entirely sure how, but they're all still there. And it is going to be James Pope then, the man who started on the outside of row 1, who led into turn 1. It was a poor start for Marco Ricci. There is the 15 car, dicing away with Alistair Kellett, who launches to the inside but can't get through at the top of the corkscrew. It's a very jumbled order then as they make their way onto the international loop for the first time. And now Gary Miller has another go at getting past James Pope.
Is it going to be Miller time here? He's taking a nice wide line in. He'll try and maybe get the cut back on the exit, which will leave him on the outside. We've got George Foxlow running well. It was a very quick start. I was keeping an eye on Alistair Kellett. He was very quick off the start. I think managed to maybe get past 2 cars. Could be key for a podium by the end, if not the win. You've got to say he's got a lot of work to do.
Oh, mistake for Pope. He runs wide out of the final corner. Gary Miller this time I think will go through on the way into turn 1 and clears the 47 car before they turn into the corner. So Gary Miller to the front of the field. The car on the grass, I think, further back, getting John Ratcliffe all excited. That was George Foxlow, I think, going around the outside of Marco Ricci into the first turn. So Miller leads, Pope second, Graham Colfer going well. Graham Colfer 13th on the grid to 3rd in a lap. That's not
sorted
bad
himself
going.
out. It's because I had a chat with him before.
That's what did it, Richard. Yeah. He wasn't confident, you were telling me. Well, I think he might be feeling a bit better about his chances now.
Yeah, he said he was being too hard on his tyres. Well, he certainly has been hard on the tyres in his opening stage. Maybe he's just adapted something or changed the setup, but great to see, you know, the mettle of the championship. You don't want to see everyone have a totally bad weekend.
Oh, George Foxlow bounces off the side of Kasper Tomaszewski. Wide goes John Cooper. Jack Sant now tries to take advantage, but Foxlow needs to go. He wants to stay with Kellett, doesn't he? Because in the first half of this morning's race, he was quicker than Kellett. He was able to catch Kellett and get past him, so he won't want to allow the reigning champion to get too far away. Cooper now leans on Tomaszewski's car, which has already sustained some damage, and there's more damage because Cooper bounces off the side of Tomaszewski into Jack Sant, and that might have damaged the steering on Cooper's car, who was just sort of trapped in the middle. I don't think either car to his left or right knew that the other one was there, and that could have been a lot worse.
It could well have been. So Gary Miller out front now, and yeah, this is probably what Gary would have wanted. Is that Sant's car with a bit hanging off?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it, for the side to side that we saw earlier on. Luke Ward down in 10th from 5th. Wasn't confident about this one. He loves driving the track, but not been happy with his own racing over the course of the weekend so far. So it's all about just bagging a few points if you can do it. What's Colfer doing now to Pope? 1.1, 1.7, so 0.6 of a second down. He's going to try and close in and get second place. And Kellett now has got a clear view of his countryman immediately ahead of him.
Yes, because he just drove around the outside of Brady Pollock into turn 1, so that is Kellett up into 4th position. But Graham Colfer's going pretty well. His pace looks reasonably strong at this stage, and I reckon he's catching James Pope. Yes, 1/4 of a second quicker than James last time by, so 2nd to 3rd is getting an awful lot closer. In fact, he might even have a go here. Graham Colfer for 2nd place into Rocket. No, not quite close enough, but the move I think is coming, isn't it? Especially if Pope runs wide like that, which he does, and that might give Colfer a chance to get the switch back. Takes the wide line into the second part of Rocket, looks for the late exit, but no, couldn't quite get to the inside of James. The longer James defends, the further ahead, of course, race leader Gary Miller will get.
Yep, Gary Miller trying to get away out front. Colfer wants to just have a nibble away, get into P2 and start the chase of the race leader. Alistair Kellett, meanwhile, still in 4th position down behind them. Here we get a shot of our race leader just heading out of shot, side by side for second. Is it complete? It is.
Yeah, good stuff. Get better exit that, wasn't it, from Colfer?
Yeah.
Although he's outbraked himself at the hairpin, and James Pope comes right back at him. So James is not going to look that gift horse in the mouth, and does indeed reclaim second position. So Colfer had it done, and then got the braking all wrong at the hairpin.
Fair play, James Pope. Could have just waved a little flag, could have rolled over and had his tummy tickled, but he's carried on with it. And, making it hard work. Good news for Gary Miller, not so good for Graham Colfer. Probably good news for Alistair Kellett, but Kellett has got Brady Pollock coming back at him as well. Pollock on the outside, the left of shot as we look at them. Kellett's got the inside run, though, into turn one. Didn't bargain for this fight, I don't think, Alistair Kellett. And look at Pollock. Despite having his intermittent problems, still running really well here, and this is a good benchmark for him against the multi-champion.
Yeah, absolutely, although he has now opened the door for George Foxlow to get to the inside. I think George will complete that pass into Church. This brings Foxlow a lot closer now to Alistair Kellett if he can make the move stick, which he does, just about on the exit of the corner. Do we know what the issue is for Brady Pollock?
Yeah, just some electrical issue, I think. Yeah.
Right. So, that's really frustrating because that's so hard to diagnose, isn't it? An electrical problem could be anything really on a modern day car, as just about Foxlow keeps within track limits and sets back off after his race 2 sparring partner Alistair Kellett.
Jack Sant trying to keep tails on him as well. The foxtail, I suppose you probably could say it. He's trying to keep up with him. Then we've got Kasper Tomaszewski not that far away. Really good quality field. There is the look at Jack Sant. First podium for him in that previous race. Oh, he had a podium last time out, but the first time I've done him, had an interview with him on the podium. Had a podium at Silverstone Grand Prix. So he's probably wondering why I said first podium earlier on, but yeah, he has had one before. And Silverstone GP, great track to be able to bag one, I should imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Imagine going with your mates down the pit. Yeah, got a podium Silverstone Grand Prix.
Yes, that's it still means something, doesn't it, drivers?
It does, yeah.
At Silverstone, it's nice to see the home of British motor racing and, oh my word, the home of Welsh motor racing, I suppose. Anglesey providing some good action here with the ST240s. Both James Pope and Graham Colfer got the final corner a little bit wrong there and ran wide over the exit curb. But James Pope hanging on to second place nicely, and the longer he does this, the better this will suit the 3 drivers behind. Alistair Kellett, George Foxlow and now Jack Sant are all running absolutely nose to tail and closing on the cars ahead. Sant is not being scored, I noticed, because he's had a dodgy transponder all weekend. Yeah,
John mentioned that they were manually timing. Sorry, he did tell me. I forgot to pass that on.
Yep. Well, he's not being scored on the timing screen anymore. So, yeah, they are not manually reinstating him into the timing screen, at least. Whether that means he'll show on the results, I don't know. Here, though, Richard, comes Kasper Tomaszewski.
Yep, Kasper down the inside, lovely move there. How much wider is he going to run? The answer is not that much farther, and Brady Pollock still giving him a run as well. Brady's still very much learning his way in this. Remember, he hasn't got the junior Fiesta experience of Tomaszewski. So coming into this from City Car Cup, it is a big step up, and the drivers have to adapt. But he's done very well. Tomaszewski doing well too, going around the outside. So hopefully we'll get that place up into P7. Floppy markers going for it as well. Luke Waugh still running in 9th place as Gary Miller still continues to lead. Kellett now closing up on James Pope. So it's Graham Colfer now in 2nd position. Kellett looking after. We're going to have an Irish 1-2-3 here.
Could be on the cards, couldn't it? I think it's about to happen, maybe into the last corner, although Kellett's on the outside here. This is not an ideal place to be. Does this open the door for Foxlow? No, he's not close enough. And on the exit of the turn, the outside becomes the inside, and Alistair Kellett, I think, will drag past James Pope on the run into turn 1. Indeed, he does. So Kellett then to 3rd now, as they slide their way through the first corner. And Graham Colfer will be next on the hit list for Alistair Kellett, and at least temporarily he's put a car between himself and George Foxlow, which he'll be grateful for. They power their way down towards Church Corner. Brady Pollock, by the way, still leads in the AM category, so he might have fallen down the overall order, but he's still leading the AMs. Luke Waugh is about 3 seconds behind him, and it's another 2.2 seconds back to Harry Hayes. So for the AM class at least, Brady Pollock still looks good.
He does, looking for a 2nd AM class win of the weekend. Luke Waugh taking the win in the first race. Maggie Webster is autograss racing. There could have been plenty of grass for her to have a go on here this weekend.
Oh, speaking of.
Yep. Oh dear, that's a shame.
Foxlow did have a go there. Well, he got past James Pope, but that's because he'd missed his braking point by quite a long way. And
I told you I don't like Don't like Anglesey.
I'm beginning to believe him now. It is a tricky breaking point, that, isn't it, up into Rocket? So many drivers have got that wrong over the course of the weekend. Jack Sant, though, benefits from that, and he's now having a real go at James Pope, who he taps into a half spin. So James Pope will lose a few positions as a result of that, and that was off the nose of Jack Sant, who has gained 2 positions on this lap, but that position gained was a little bit rough.
Form an orderly queue at the clerk's office. Everybody.
Yep, I think it'll be busy downstairs after this race. James Pope will certainly have an opinion on that.
Shame for James, because he stood up really well off the front in these early stages, you know, particularly when he had Alistair snapping all over him. So yeah, really good job from him at that point. But it's weird, I still can't get used to not seeing Jack Sant on the timing screen, but yeah, as we say, he's not in the system. Transponder not working.
Yeah.
And we should be doing manual lap charts up here. Have you ever done a manual lap chart?
Not whilst commentating, no.
Peter Shearer was doing one yesterday, wasn't he, up here in the Motorsport Fun Cup?
Yes,
which is remarkable. Yeah, anyway, so he's nice things to do. I think everyone should train and do some of those.
Oh, when I was a kid, watching racing at Alton Park trackside, I would.
Nice.
Back when they used to have lap charts in the programmes. When we used to have programmes.
Nice.
That was that's the way I learnt. And back when I first started commentating, my mum used to come along with me and be my lap chart.
Oh, bless.
In the early days, before every commentary box had a timing screen. So it's definitely a useful tool for following the story of a race.
Colfer and Kellett are pretty much together now, so a Colfer and Kellett clash perhaps imminent. Miller still out front, 5 seconds clear. It's probably not going to go away, is it? The Miller lead from Colfer and Kellett. You'd say that Kellett maybe has had the pace, well, definitely had the pace over the course of the weekend so far. You'd expect him to get past, but Graham is not going to make it easy for him. And they want to have a battle and a saga to talk about on the way back on the ferry.
Yes, I think you're probably right. And every corner really now that Kellett spends behind Colfer is lessening his chance of catching Gary Miller, who's not going to be an easy man to catch anyway. So Gary Miller will be feeling pretty confident, I think, at this stage with 8 minutes of the race to go. Graham Colfer and Alistair Kellett scrapping over second position, and George Foxlow a little distant now in third. This is sort of the time of the race where George, in the previous 2 races, has started to fade a little bit, maybe through tyre wear. We'll see whether they've in fact, no, sorry, it's not Foxlow, is it? It's Jack Sant, because Foxlow had his dramas earlier on, so he's the next of the blue and yellow cars. They head back down towards the banking. Brady Pollock also benefited from the James Pope moment, so he's back into the top 6 overall now, and that puts a car between himself and the second place car in the AM-Class Luke War.
Henry House threatening to come back out in this next year as a guest, maybe do the odd round, but I'm sure he'd much rather be doing the sort of moving on and doing minis, but maybe he was angling for a mention maybe on the commentary. Very possibly. He's sobered up now as well, which is good.
Good stuff. So, into Rocket comes Colfer. Just misses the apex, but Alistair Kellett hasn't found a way through immediately, has he? And this is much more like it for Graham Colfer, who ironically is not a driver who's benefited from track position in this race courtesy of the reverse grid. It's hard to believe he started 13th and he's up into second position now. Graham Colfer absolutely flying, but can he keep Kellett behind? This could be significant for the championship, given Colfer was the points leader coming into this weekend. Yeah,
every point could well count here. What's the last round of this? Is it last Fun Cup? Alton Park, isn't it?
Yes, I think it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Which will only be a double header rather than a triple, so you won't finish the championship on a reverse grid race, which is probably sound.
Yes.
Wouldn't really want to be doing it on that. Miller 5.3, the gap being maintained by Gary Miller, certainly one of this year's fancied championship runners, Gary Miller. In fact, you'd say that all 3 of the Irish lads are going to be in with a good shout with it. George Foxlow still in with a pretty good shout as well. Tom Olewski, Jack Sant, all scoring heavily over the early rounds of this championship as well. Kellett is not close enough to Colfer, is he, at the moment? Graham Colfer's seen him off for now.
Yeah, Colfer's stopped the charge, hasn't he, a little bit from Alistair Kellett, and if you can do that, just if the car behind you starts catching you quite quickly, but you can keep them behind for a couple of laps, they get stuck running at your pace, then it robs them of their momentum and rhythm, and it is bringing Jack Sant into that battle now as well. So those 3 cars getting closer and closer together. Kellett's had a decent run out of Church Corner this time, tucks into the slipstream heading up the hill. But is he going to be close enough to have a go into the braking zone at Rocket? I'm not convinced he is. Closes under braking, really closes under braking. As he made the corner, can, sort of, a little bit wide, but he's going to be getting a bit frustrated here, Alistair Kellett, especially with Jack Sant now looming larger in his mirrors.
He will, yeah, he'll feel the pressure, won't he, very soon. So Colfer's still there, Gary Miller out front. Kellett's managed to close up once again. For us, makes it all the more entertaining, doesn't it, bringing a third car into the mixture. How much further down is George Foxlow? Let's have a look. George is after his moment, not that far behind, but not close enough to close in with 4 minutes to go.
No, probably not, unless something dramatic happens, which has been known. So very much a three-way fight now for the lower podium positions, with Foxlow, with Sant, who keeps catching me out. It doesn't help that Sant's car is largely the same colour as George Foxlow's as well, but isn't appearing on the timing tower. The main distinction between the two is that Sant's car is the one with the side skirt hanging loose after contact earlier on. Surprised that's not fallen off altogether, actually, but it's hanging on as he comes across the timing line then with 4 and a bit minutes to go. And now Kellett having to watch his mirrors a little bit more than he'd like to. It's taking a bit of the pressure off Colfer.
Yeah, Kellett looking at his old car in his mirrors, so we'll see what Jack can do. Really good product of the Junior Championship, Jack Sant. Sensible move for him coming up into the juniors. I think this year, we were talking at the scholarship this year, get a lot of 16-year-olds coming into the scholarship, and for those that don't win, it's very well worth them looking at going into senior championships, be it Classic Formula Ford, be it the City Car Cup, C1s, or indeed senior Fiesta racing.
Yeah, definitely so. And there are people who've been doing senior Fiesta racing for a long time, but the youngsters come in and often are a thorn in their side, aren't they? George Foxlow, for example, who came up through the junior ranks as well.
I've not really mentioned the Masters class winners, certainly didn't on the podium, and I apologise for not doing that, but of course Alistair Kellett, by taking overall wins, is winning Masters category as well, and we tend to overlook that, but it is great that you've got a championship, you know, very well run by BRSCC, where older drivers can still win, including 150s last week. Did Mike Blackburn get an overall win again?
Yes, I believe he did.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, they were good races as well for Donington. The ST150s always are, and that's where the ST240s head next as well, Donington Park. I think that is part of the Fun Cup event. That's their next event, so we'll get to see these cars on the Donington Park circuit, which is really well suited to one-mate racing, Donington. So excited for that weekend. That's going to be very, very entertaining. Oh, Jack Sant's gone straight on. What on earth has happened to Jack Sant at the final corner? But there he is, look, he's almost made the barrier. But that all looked very, very odd, Richard. I just caught it out of the corner of my eye.
Was it a repeat of, like, was it James Pope yesterday? Was it a brake
with the brake
problem?
Issues? Yeah, I wouldn't.
Didn't look the same though, did it, to be fair?
Well, it was just an odd place for the car to end up. I hope he hasn't got brake problems, because he's about to head into another big braking zone at the banking at turn 2. But, well, that takes him well and truly out of the fight for a podium now.
I'd say he's dropped off the timing tower, but he wasn't on there anyway, so...
Yeah, you can't drop down the timing tower if you weren't on it in the first place, can you? But is he still going? Yeah, he's still going.
It's definitely going to be Irish 1, 2, 3, isn't it?
Now, I would say that's a near certainty, yes, because it's 4 seconds nearly back to George Foxlow in 4th, so unless Graham Colfer and Alistair Kellett tangle, that's unlikely to change. So what on earth happened to Jack Sant? Maybe he just got a wheel on the dirt coming into the final corner. That is possible. He was quite cautious under braking there, though, wasn't he, into Rocket? So James Pope and Harry Hayes, who is second in the AM class, close in on him. And Jack's got a bit of defending to do now to hang on to 7th position.
He has. We'll see whether he can hold on. 1 minute 31 on the clock. So last couple of laps for these drivers for their respective long or, well, shortest trip home. Gary Miller say 20 minutes the other side of the sea for him, so not too bad to be able to get home. Gary was saying he's an engineer by trade, struggling to get young people involved in apprenticeships. If you're in watching this on the Irish, that side of the Irish scene, looking for an apprenticeship, go and talk to Gary. He'd be very keen to get youngster involved in engineering. Cross the line he goes.
And on to his final lap.
Yeah.
20 minutes, or 19 minutes anyway, have gone by very quickly. There's an awful rattling noise coming from Jack Sant's car.
I was going to say,
the front splitter, isn't it, that's now, it really is falling apart, that car. Had a tough day as Jack Sant's number 86 machine, which rattles its way down into turn 1. Harry Hayes here having a go at James Pope, this for 7th position. Pope will be a bit disappointed, I think, to only be battling for 7th at this stage, having run up in the podium places earlier on, but that little tangle with Jack Sant, ironically, has sent him plummeting down the order. But that maybe is the only position now that's likely to change, because we've got 1.5 seconds between Graham Colfer and Alistair Kellett now, so I'm not convinced that's going to change on the final half a lap. And Gary Miller still 4.4 seconds out in front in the lead.
This is Gary's first win of the year. I was just thinking, I can't recall that he hasn't taken one so far this year.
I think you're right.
It's been a long time coming, but very well deserved. He, a surprise that he hasn't had one so far, but very much on the way, unless the curse of the commentator bites on the last lap. As you watch Harry Hayes getting stuck in as well. He's a character as well, Harry Hayes. We need some more Harry Hayes podium interviews at some point, because he's a good lad.
Yeah, second at the moment, so on course for a podium in the AM class. Still a couple of seconds ahead of Luke Waugh. Here, though, is Gary Miller. Picks up a bit of understeer through the hairpin, but he is well on his way now, too, as Richard quite rightly points out. A first victory of the season. The time ticks to 0. And Gary Miller brings the number 42 car out of the final corner and wins the third AIRTEC Motorsport Fiesta ST240 Championship race of the weekend. Second place will go the way of Graham Colfer. Valuable championship points after what's been a trying weekend for him. And Alistair Kellett third. So just the one win this weekend, but the Alistair Kellett way is always to just sort of consistently pick up the points where possible. And that's what he continues to do in 2026. Bit of a run to the line here between James Pope and the 26 machine of Harry Hayes. And it will be Pope that hangs on to 7th place. Harry Hayes in 8th, Brady Pollock the AM class winner. But Gary Miller takes the overall win, and he'll be very, very pleased with that.
Apparently Colin Turkington drove Alistair Kellett's car on Friday.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, had a little test. Very impressed, apparently.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Colin would... who, as I say, did come through Fiesta Racing, didn't he, all those years ago?
Yes, that's right,
in the late 90s.
Yes, I forgot about
before stepping into the big leagues. With
I'm guessing a little bit of paternal interest as well, because the possibility is that, obviously it's a different car to a junior, but interesting for him to understand the tracks and maybe give his son a bit of advice. Certainly did well, young Turkington, in qualifying. But here's the result.
Indeed so. Gary Miller the winner, Graham Colfer second, and Alistair Kellett joins them on the podium and wins the Masters category. George Foxlow 4th ahead of Kasper Tomilewski. Brady Pollock was the AM winner in 6th, James Pope 7th, Harry Hayes 8th, Luke Waugh 9th and Sean Reynolds 10th. But in amongst them somewhere is Jack Sant, who wasn't being timed in that race because of his dodgy transponder. Marco Ritchie was next ahead of Simon Horrobin, and John Cooper retired to the pit lane, unfortunately. So... just the 12 cars getting to the checkered flag in the end in that one. It was a fairly bruising start to the race, but once it settled down,